You lately became a master of sake, am I correct?
Yeah, I actually became the sixth in the world to do so, and right now there are currently seven. I was living in Tamba, Hyogo, which is like a rural, countryside part of Japan. And I was working out of Kotsuzumi. And I was living there for several months, like, living, breathing, eating, and drinking a lot of sake. And after I had completed my internship there, I received the title of Master of Sake.
Hello, Haidar. Welcome to OysterLink, and thank you for joining us today.
Hey, thank you so much for having me.
So, before we start, could you please introduce yourself and tell us a bit about your career path, which I know is quite interesting, but I would like to hear it from you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So my name is Haidar Hachem. I am born and raised right here in Miami, Florida. My family, we are Lebanese, so I have a Lebanese background. And my wife, who is the other owner of Shojo, is Nicaraguan. Her name is Marilyn, and she's also born and raised here in Miami. And yeah, so we started. I mean, before we even jumped into food and bev, Madi is actually a doctor, and I'm a civil engineer. We left those jobs behind to pursue, something we were more passionate about, and we started Shojo in 2020. The best time to start a new
Yep.
business, and at that point, we were just doing beer. So we were brewing beer, and we didn't have a brick and mortar at that point. We were just doing contract brewing, which is essentially like we rent space at another facility and make our own beer. And then we were distributing our beer to California, New York, Maine, Virginia, Washington, D.C., and all around Florida. And then we were doing that for several years. And then in 2023, we opened our brick and mortar Shojo's Dojo. So we ended up becoming Florida's first and only sake brewery and bar. So we had expanded our coverage from doing just beer to beer and sake now. And yeah, I mean, we're doing great. I mean, we're still doing great, but in August of 2023, we had to leave the warehouse we currently were in because our landlord essentially kicked us out, and they're demolishing the warehouses and they're building apartments. So, typical Miami. And we had a little break, but the good news is that we are going to like what was great about Shojo's Dojo, the original brick and mortar that we had, was that both the brewery and the bar were in the same place. It kind of sucks now because like we don't have like our concrete brick and mortar, but we are still brewing. We're going to be brewing out of Grain and Still Brewery in Doral, and we are going to be opening our new tap room. Well, I say our new tap room, but it's we're doing a pop up. We're going to be doing a pop up and you're actually one of the first people to know. It's going to be in Coral Gables at Threefold
Nice.
Cafe. So during the day, it's Threefold Cafe, and then at night we're going to be taking over as as Shojo's Dojo as a sake brewery and bar. And we're for the kitchen side, we're going to have Ping Pong Boyo, who's going to be making karage, chicken wings, all that good stuff. And then yeah, I mean that's pretty much what's on the horizon.
Then let me ask you, what gets a doctor and an engineer to move to brewing, then brewing sake? Then I know that you accomplished even the title of a master of sake. Then how that happened? What changed? And by the way, like food and beverage, this is not an easy industry. What
Oh no,
got
I
in
know.
2020? So
Trust me, I
you
know.
even the timing and everything. What happened?
Yeah, we just like to make our lives harder. We're just masochists like that. No, but at so when Madi left being a doctor behind, that was before I left to brewing. She was like set to go and like start her career as a doctor, but she just wasn't passionate about it anymore, and she wanted to pursue digital marketing. So while I still had my civil engineering career, I took care of us as as a whole, And then she, started doing her digital marketing, and then she got more and more clients little by little. And then when we were both doing really well in, her digital marketing and I was still engineering, I got approached by my former boss, John Falco, to become the brewer at Strange Beast, which is a brew pub and pizzeria here in Miami. And I was, part of the opening staff. So I didn't want to leave that, question later on in life, like, what if I took that job? So I just said, screw it. And I, jumped into brewing. And then that was in 2019. And then in 2020, I completely left the engineering behind and then started pursuing brewing. And Mari was taking care of us at that point with her digital marketing. And honestly, it was just passion. It was something that we were both passionate and excited about. And I mean, as everybody else in food and bev knows, it is a very hard, very rough career
Yep.
choice and path to take. But bless up, Mari and I, we have each other and we lift each other up, and we're still going strong.
Impressive. But what about the sake part of it? You say that you were like brewing beer at the beginning, then
Yeah.
sake became the main thing. Even the first brewer, like sake brewery in Florida.
So we're still brewing beer. I just like
Okay.
to let people know we're still brewing beer, but I fell into sake like I did with beer originally, where I just loved beer and drinking different styles of beer and learning about beer. So then I just like my engineering brain kind of like kicked in to like, oh, why don't you try brewing it to get to completely understand it. So that's kind of like I was already like doing that with beer, and then like that kind of like hit me off with sake as well. Like I started finding out about the different styles, about the different prefectures, about the different breweries, and then like I really really dove headfirst into sake. And what's different about sake and beer is like beer you can look up online and you can find like a treasure trove of information of brewing and all that stuff. Sake not so much. I actually learned about how to brew sake through reading first, and then it was just kind of like a trial and error type situation. But we really got lucky in the sense that I brewed my first batch of sake, and then when it was ready to drink, we opened up our brick and mortar. So it was like right, just
Yep.
by coincidence, it happened like that. So we got to do a sake breaking ceremony with our grand opening of Shojo's Dojo. And, I just completely fell in love with sake. And it's a lot harder to, like, don't get me wrong, beer is brewed, good beer is hard to brew, but good sake is like
Yeah.
100 times harder.
It's like you guys keep looking for the challenges one after another. And you lately became a master of sake, am I correct? You went to Japan, you became like this is a title. You achieved the title formally.
Yeah, I actually became the sixth in the world to do so, and right now there are currently seven. I was living in Tamba, Hyogo, which is like a rural, countryside part of Japan, and I was working out of Kotozumi. The brand name is Kotozumi. The family name is Nishiyama Brewery, and I was living there for several months, like living, breathing, eating, and drinking a lot of sake. And after I had completed my internship there, I received the title of Master of Sake.
Nice. And
And
let me
actually,
ask, okay,
oh no, sorry to cut you off,
go
but
ahead.
I'm really excited about this. So that was last year that I got my Master of Sake, but we actually went back this year to Japan, and we just got back a couple weeks ago. But what's really cool is that we actually, so kind of like I was talking about beer brewing before. With beer brewing, like you hear about collaborations between breweries, like there's like maybe three or four a day, right? There's like a bunch happening all the
Yep.
time. With sake breweries, it's not something that is very common, but I became so close. Like, I mean, they're essentially they are my family now. With the brewery that I worked at in Japan, we actually Shojo and Kotozumi, we did a sake collaboration, and it's actually currently fermenting right now, and we are going to be importing it into the States.
Nice. So was that the reason you were in Japan last month?
Yeah, yes, but also to, just
Yep.
have a nice vacation on the in between
Yes.
of the closing of our one spot and the opening of our next.
And how about the new spot? How's it going?
It's good. So it, like I said, I mean, the Threefold Cafe, they're already there. They're killing it. You know,
Yep.
they're doing their thing. It's we don't have to do a build out or anything. We're just essentially going to be an activation in that space because they close in the afternoon, and then we're going to be taking over at night. And that's going to
Nice.
be for now at least Thursday to Sunday, from like 6 or 7 to like when we decide to close.
So let me ask you, what about your advice to someone considering to open their own place in Miami these days, like in hospitality? Do you think this is a good advice these days?
I would say don't do it. No, no. Look, I would say if, especially because Miami is such a hot pot of different
Yep.
cultures and, like people and like a mix of both tourists and locals. If you're going to open a spot in Miami, make sure you know the community that of the area that you decide that you want to open in, right? Like, don't just choose South Beach or don't choose Brickell because, like, you hear about these places, or I mean, honestly, even Wynwood, because Wynwood is a very much different place than what it used to be a couple years ago. Like, come to Miami, live in Miami for a little bit, go to the different neighborhoods, check out especially for like the concept you want to open, right? Like, don't just come and open another sushi spot or another Thai place or another Chinese spot. You know what I mean? Like, come in, know the community, and if you are going to open a place, even if you do have investor money, open a place with personality, because the as we all know, the industry has been very rough for everyone throughout the summer and this past year, and a lot of places, even newer places, aren't even
Yep.
lasting a year of being open. Bless up, we have a great community, we have a great like just consumer like base that's backing us, and we're able to stay open and continue doing what we do, which we absolutely love, and we're excited to get back to it. But know the community, bring your own personality to it, and don't just be another copy paste place that is just coming into Miami.
I have to ask you a question about the community. So, do you believe you're one of the people who are promoting sake in Miami? I mean, are you growing the number of sake fans, or do they find you, the ones who already know sake?
So that's actually a great question. I mean, another great fact about Shojo is that we're sommelier owned and operated. So both myself and Madi were sommeliers. Well, I'm a sommelier in beer and sake. Madi is a sommelier in beer, sake, and wine. So like,
Nice.
beyond just like educating you about the liquid of sake, we want to like just enrich your experience and give you like knowledge on what you're drinking, why you're drinking it, what temperature to drink it at. Because there are sakes, good sakes, that can be drank hot, which a lot of people think
Yeah.
that typically is just because, I mean, that's the case, right? Like, typically you just drink lesser or like cheaper forms of sake that they just heat up, but there are sakes you could drink at room temp, heated up, and like that's the things that we like to teach people when they come to Shojo. And we actually got a good mix of both people that liked sake but wanted to learn more about sake, a lot of people that were educated on sake and just like wanted a place to hang out and drink sake, and the people that like didn't know anything about sake but
Yep.
like heard about us and wanted to come and check it out. So like, we got a nice mix of like all three, like on the spectrum of like knowing and not knowing sake. And yeah, we love doing events. So at our old space, we didn't have a kitchen. We worked with like with food pop-ups. But what we would do is, beyond just being open and teaching people as they came in, we would host once a month sake pairing dinners or sake classes. We called it Shojo University, where we would pair sake with different kinds of foods, and then we would teach you about sakes either on a particular style in a particular region, or like a specific brewery. We just do like a brewery flight or tasting, and then we pair that with like charcuterie or like some like some food, some things that you can like pick at. But then we also did sake pairing dinners to show people that sake pairs not just with sushi or Japanese food, but
Yep.
pairs with everything. And we've done like every different style of like culture and food, and we've picked specific sakes that would pair with those food really well. And each time we've had an event, we've sold out, and it's been a great time.
And what about the concept? What's the concept behind Shojo's? I mean, from the name and the whole thing, why is it Shojo's Dojo?
So when we opened, we wanted, so like I said, I'm Lebanese, Mari's Nicaraguense, but we tie our culture and our heritage like around with a Japanese aesthetic in Shojo, right? So like we don't, like, people automatically hear dojo and they think of like a karate
Yeah.
school or whatever, but we don't hold dojo to that, because dojo also means a place of learning, like a place of education. So like that's the standard that we hold our dojo to,
Okay.
and it's also a sacred place. And then the sacred place ties into the name shojo. So what a shojo is, it's like a yokai, or like a Japanese spirit, and it's a sea spirit. So that ties into the fact that we're from Miami, and he's like, I say he's, but it's like it's like a monkey humanoid type spirit that lives by the beach and just drinks all the time.
Okay.
And what's a really cool anecdote of the shojo is that if you ever come upon a shojo and you ask him, or you ask it to drink, the liquid that he's brewing, they'll let you drink it, right? But depending on what kind of person you are is how that drink will affect you. So if like you're a good person, it's going to be the best drink you've ever had in your life. But if you're a not so good person, it could be toxic, could even kill you. So obviously we're
Okay.
not going to be killing anybody at Shojo, because like people that come to Shojo are all
Yeah.
good vibes. So people that come to have a great time and drink good liquid.
And what's next? What's next for Shojo? So, I mean, besides the new place, the new spot that you just talked about, what are your plans? What do you want for the future?
So with the brewery that we're at now, we're going to be, working out of grain and still. We're looking to increase our volume of production and to start distributing. Because like up until recently, we were just brewing enough to, support the tap room.
Yep.
But now we want to brew more so we can, start distributing our sake. And then beyond that, we are, like I said, the space at Threefold Cafe, there's just going to be an activation, and we're, fingers crossed, like a year or less is like our time frame of how long we want to be at that space, because we are looking for our, like our home, because we just don't want to be like, an activation at somebody else's place. Like we
Yep.
want to bring back our vibe, our personality into our own space, and like we are actively looking for another space to do that.
Good luck with that and all the best
Thank you.
wishes. And thank you so much, by the way, for sharing this inspiring story. Again, I mean, I still have difficulties understanding the whole thing, engineering, then like a doctor and sake, and being the like the first brewer you said in Florida, right?
Yep.
This is impressive. And 2020,
Thank
it
you.
adds to the whole thing. So that's something on the
Yeah.
side. So
Making our lives as hard as possible.
yes, good luck with everything. Thank you so much.
No, thank you.